fun today.
She better knock it off before she get thrown off this balcony. Go lay down somewhere.
Oh, well, hi, everyone. Winos, friends, dog enthusiasts, apparently today.
Surprisingly pretty good. Sorry, okay.
Last week we came to you live from the Dome.
We did.
And by live, we mean that's just where we recorded. And today we are at Lars' new spot.
Yeah, fresh off of a hectic Thanksgiving weekend.
As a wonderful friend, because I'm excellent.
You are.
This is the first time I've been here since you've moved in.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. So, like, as a wonderful friend, I came over. Laura was busy. That's where I was going with it. You are a wonderful friend.
I did that too.
Yes, no, I asked. True, that is a true statement, though. Ashley, this is Ashley's first time. Who cares? You helped me move in.
I did.
For God's sakes. And I'm pseudo settled. There's some things she's gonna take back to her house for me because I had to downsize and still can't fit it all comfortably anywhere. So anyway, she came over into I asked Ashley, can you come over? Can we move the studio here? Yeah. So she is a wonderful friend because I reached out and I said, I need you today to come to me. We got to move the studio temporarily for the day. My dishes are piled up to the ceiling. There's a strange smell coming from the water that's in the pot. And it's because I haven't been home all week. I've been doing sports shit since we got home from Thanksgiving. It's hectic. Can you please come this way? And here she is. She came. She is a wonderful friend.
You did bribe me with tacos, though.
I did.
I love tacos.
I know how to get you over here.
So we, Thanksgiving was busy for both of us. And we don't have to get into it. If you want to know, ask us. We'll tell you.
Well, somebody hit me.
Oh, you did get into a car accident.
I did get into a fucking car accident.
Oh,
I mean, everybody's okay. It's not a major one. But she was young, and I almost had the thing stopped. I almost had my car stopped, but it had literally just started snowing right then, and it was slippery.
Yeah. And
I'm going straight, and she tried to pull out in front of me. She was at a stop sign making a left-hand turn. She tried to go, didn't make it. I wonder if she slipped. I wonder too if that's maybe what slowed her down. She didn't have enough. She shouldn't have. You didn't have enough room, chick. You didn't have enough room.
Yeah.
Anyways, nothing major nobody was hurt. It was me, Tim, and Junie in the car. Junie was... the hell? Junie was most shook out of all of us. And then I was getting ready. I had to calm myself because I was ready to...
Well, it's a nerve-wracking thing. Like, it instantly sends your emotions into overdrive when you get into an accident of any kind. Whether you're at fault... not at fault. Every emotion you feel is in overdrive regardless of the situation.
Right, exactly. And it's a holiday. The holidays are stressful. You're on the road. It feels like you live in your car. At least it does for me. I definitely felt that way. And I was kind of in the home stretch, but knew I had to make a trip to Chicago the next morning to pick up my kid. I'm like, dang, bro, really? I was so fucking mad. I swear to God, I wanted to fight that girl. And then I saw she was young. But she did piss me off. She was like, I thought you were turning. I'm like, how so, Sway? I just turned out. I had just turned out, 200 feet prior to that out of a parking lot and was going straight.
Also, where did you go to school? If you don't see a blinker, people probably aren't turning.
This chick gonna tell me I saw a blinker. I said, I didn't have one on. And she was like, you have it on now. And I said, that's my hazard. That's my hazard, you idiot. I'm sitting here in the middle of US 12. It's my hazard.
Oh, boy.
Anyways, she was like, I've never been asked before. I said, I got it.
Clearly.
I got it. So the cop came. She was cool as shit. Really, I told her what happened. She was like, well, that's pretty cut and dry. Yeah, pretty cut and dry. This chick pulled out in front of me. I don't know if she was straight. Anyways, my car's fine for the most part. Literally, unless you're looking at it, you would never know anything happened to it. It was making a weird noise, but now it doesn't seem to be making that noise anymore. So I'm really not in a hurry to take it in.
Let it ride.
That goddamn AAU car's tough.
Ford
built tough.
I'll say.
Okay, Ford. That thing is ugly and I don't like it, but it saved me from the turkey buzzard and a reckless driver.
Turkey buzzard. That's a story for another day, folks. The old turkey buzzard.
Turkey buzzard tried to take my life.
Preach.
For real. I don't know if it wasn't Ford Tough, if I wouldn't have had my life taken. That shit scared the fuck out of me. I thought somebody was shooting at me on I-94. God, or a dead body fell on the vehicle. I kid you not. That car is not. You said to me the other day, you have not had good luck in that car.
No.
No, the fuck I haven't.
No.
Give me back my $200, Dad.
Somebody knows that you did not.
I didn't want that car.
You weren't fully invested
I
in
wasn't.
the car.
No.
You weren't fully on board, and they're just.
There ain't nothing I can do about it now.
The hits just keep on coming.
It keeps on coming, and
sometimes I feel like that about being a mother.
Or just living life in general. The hits just keep on coming.
I really like being a mom now. Don't get me wrong, most days, but that wasn't in my life plan. I don't know if we've talked about that on the podcast yet, but that wasn't on my life plan. And so, like, some days when the especially tough days, I'm like, someone's punishing me. Like, remember when you said you didn't want to be a mom?
It's all a lesson. Find the lesson and the blessing.
Oh, you're really cute.
I'm trying. It's this whole gratitude thing. I'm really
anyway,
trying very, very
because
hard.
shit's crazy and shit's chaotic, I thought of the new thing on my way over here.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm going to say, what are we drinking today anymore? I'm going to say, how are you managing your chaos today? Or what are you managing your chaos with today?
Oh, I like
What are we? Because it's not just you. It's us.
So
what are we managing our chaos today with, Lar?
Very good. It only took us a whole year.
Dan always said it's not just a hat rack. There's some good ideas up there every now and then.
You have more than Shatsy does. Well, the good news is that there's no shortage of wine over here.
There isn't.
And as there ever is. Even when Ashley comes, she comes prepared with 2 bottles. And so while we were making tacos and catching up, we broke the first one in. And it's a Malbec.
We like Malbecs.
Yes, we do. And so the plan was, let's open the Malbec. We'll drink it now because we like it, and then we'll review the Côte d'Aron. Well, that's not responsible. So we both have to work tomorrow, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But we do have 2 to review because the Advent calendar, my wine Advent calendar,
wine Advent.
Day 1, December 1st, wine Advent, and so we got a little mini bottle out of that one, which we'll talk about in a second as well. So this is a 2020 Malbec out of Argentina, Mendoza, Argentina. It is J.O.P., a.k.a. Rodolfo Sadler, a master winemaker and aspiring chef. So, we get a little background noise. That's not Junie chomping on. Do you have to chomp on your dog food while Ashley's trying to? I know, these dickhead ass dog. Now she's slurping. Christ almighty. Lord. Anyways, so this one is again made by a aspiring chef and winemaker, which I think makes a perfect pair because if you can if you could
match
wine
the two
paired
together,
with great food, I mean,
so
with great food, I mean, it's important. It can bring out the best in both. So it doesn't really talk too much about a ton of flavor notes on here. It has an intense deep red color. The nose and palate convey harmonious ripe. Blackberry and plum. Underpinned by elegant smoke and vanilla notes. This attractive wine is a perfect partner to red meat dishes, spicy sausages, and cheese. I will say it's extremely smooth.
It's very easy to drink. Yeah.
It's light, but it has a lot of body. So I know
very
that sounds
flavorful.
Kind of, but it's good. I smashed it. I don't know if you noticed, but I was standing over there while I was cooking, and I just kept drinking.
Because it's good. It was easy to drink.
We drank it with tacos.
Yeah, it was very good with the tacos.
It was good with the tacos. I mean, Argentina, taco. I mean, we might have been onto something.
Yeah.
It made sense unintentionally. But it made sense. I'm going to give it a 3.
Same, girl.
It was good.
It was really good.
That was a good one. And it's got a cool, I think it's his signature on the front. So J.O.P. or a.k.a. Ronaldo? Yeah, not Ronaldo. No, it's Rodolfo.
Is it? Oh, okay.
It's Rodolfo Sadler. Sorry, Rodolfo. I apologize. But your wine is dope. I would love to taste some of your tacos.
I bet they're fucking fire.
So we're going to give 3 cheers to that one. Clink, clink, clink. And we got this. So the first bottle out of the Advent calendar is a cab.
It is a cab. It's called The Rock.
That was nice.
Yeah.
That was nice.
I don't have my glasses on. California Landscape, I think.
Do you need help? God, the writing on the back is only going to get smaller. You better just hand it over. Okay. I have my glasses on. Don't even do that to yourself. You should have seen
my face, you guys.
Yeah,
there was a lot of squinting.
It's a struggle. Yes, it's a 2020 cab. It's not, doesn't really, this classic varietal stands tall with its style and charisma, highlighted by its fruit-forward palate and lasting finish. The rock is ideal with richly textured foods. Actually, so what we did notice out of the advent calendars that they're all made by the same brand, I believe, which is...
I think it's that California landscape.
Cellared and bottled by American Vintners in California. Anyways, regardless, unless it's, what does this Lodi mean? L-O-D-I? I don't know. Either way, they all have the same look and feel, and it's just it's a bunch of different fun little mini bottles to pull out for each day. They have all the flavors you can imagine.
So join us through the month of December while we dive into Lars'
and that's
advent
a fairly
calendar.
Decent cab. I don't mind.
It's not bad. It's a little dry.
Yeah, I'll give it like a 2.
Yeah, it's a little dry, but it's not the worst cab I've ever had.
No, it's definitely not as good as that Malbec that we just...
Definitely not. We should have done that one first. And rounded it off with the Malbec. That's okay.
Yeah, it's fine though.
So we're managing our chaos today with 2 bottles of wine. Cheers.
Yeah. And I mean, we have a whole nother full bottle over there if things get real crazy, but we're going to not because Ashley has to drive home. We're trying to be more responsible.
Potato.
Usually it's me that has to do the driving, but today it's Ashley. So, I got to thinking, we're brainstorming about topics for today. And over the course of the Thanksgiving holiday, the idea of boundaries came to mind for me based on...
But I don't think that's exclusive to you, right?
No.
Because I feel like, and this is not a shot at any of our families.
No, not at all.
I feel like that's when boundaries in general get tested, is when you're around your families.
Touche.
And this time of year, you spend unusually more time with your family than you normally do because there's a lot of holidays compounded within a month. Mm-hmm. So I would argue that you're probably not alone.
No. And I think that just for me in general, like when thinking about boundaries and doing some discovery today and looking into, different, of course, when we decide on, if we decide on a topic, we like to do some research and some insight and to think about what we're going to talk about. And maybe there's something I haven't thought about. And there's a number of different types of boundaries that I never even thought of and how those are impacted and what that really means and what that looks like and how to set healthy ones for each type. And as the more reading that I was doing, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was listening to this podcast and then I stumbled upon a quiz and I was like, oh, let me take that and see what type of boundary style that I have. And so anyways, it's been a topic of discussion for me in some of the work that I'm doing personally, right? So it's been something that I've been discussing even with my therapist and working on. And the way that I handle my boundary style varies with the relationship or the situation. And so I think that now that I'm learning more about it and I'm thinking more about it and being intentional about understanding where I'm good and where I struggle, it's becoming evident that I am getting better. I think I had a couple of moments where it was tested for me, which brought it to top of mind for me.
Sure.
It was there were a couple of instances where even in for instance with the car accident thing.
Yeah.
There are moments where things like that are tested for me and I can see that I am headed in the right direction in terms of managing my boundaries in a more healthy way. So I sent what I had taken to Ashley. She took the boundary style quiz as well, and we had different outcomes, which I'm not surprised about. Although we both have varying opinions about what our results were. You want me to start, or you want to start?
You go ahead.
Okay, so the quiz was, relatively like 13 questions long. This was a quiz that was created by a therapist by the name of Terri
Cole.
Terri Cole. And I stumbled upon her from a podcast that I was listening to and called FML, the FML podcast. FML means fuck my life.
For those of you who don't know.
That podcast is hosted by a gal by the name of Gabrielle, and I can't remember what her last name is. I apologize to her. It's not like she probably listens to us, but maybe someday.
But if you do, we're sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry. But she's got like 82,000 followers or something, so I'm sure she's doing just fine. Anyways, her story is that of much of she's kind of going through healing. It's very much so women empowerment. She unfortunately did not have a great marriage. There was infidelity by her husband, who was dating like this very young girl and basically living kind of a double life. And she went on to go on like a Europe excursion. And wrote about all of her experiences, the affair, everything that she went through, plus her trip around the world to find herself. And now she's like...
she did like a real Eat, Pray, Love thing.
Yeah, literally. The story of her book is Eat, Pray, FML.
Oh.
That's hashtag FML. That's the story of her. That is the title of her book.
She's real original.
Right. She kind of yanked that.
Anyway.
Please don't listen to this podcast, Gabriel.
We apologize.
If you do, just have us on as guests.
We're happy to discuss. In further detail.
But yes, it wasn't real original. However, she is making plenty of money off of it. She's doing well for herself because of it. Anyway, she had on this guest, this Terri Cole, as her guest, and she was very insightful about she considers herself the boundaries boss.
Yeah, isn't her book called The Boss Boundary Boss?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. She also has a book too, right?
Terri Cole does.
Yeah, Terri Cole does. Yeah. So anyways, I went on and took this quiz, 13 questions roughly, and very like situational. If this was happening with your partner, would you react this, and this? If
this was happening at work.
If this was happening at work, if this was happening with your friend or your family. So it was all these different scenarios that you'd find yourself maybe where your boundaries were tested.
Sure.
And there were 5 responses that were 5 choices for each answer, and then after you took the 13, it would round it out and tell you kind of what your boundary style is based on your answers. Well, when I was taking the quiz, and Ashley will tell you as well, there were times where I was like, okay, that could be the answer. This one could maybe be the answer.
I could pull from like 2 or 3 of these answers. Yeah.
Like it wasn't like overall fitting.
Sure.
And then thinking about myself, my boundaries do vary based on the relationship with the person I'm in the situation with. Yeah. So I find myself in different...
Well, and I think that the intention of the quiz was to get there, which is why they asked you specific, if in your relationship, would you do this? Uh-huh. At your family, would you do this? At work, would you do this? Mm-hmm. But it's just a very generalized conclusion that it comes to.
Yeah, we're talking about 13 questions, multiple choice here. You know, not super deep dive. Just trying to get there. So I can't say that I'm overly surprised. My primary boundary style is called what she calls a powerhouse.
I found a really nice PDF that summarizes
both of them.
Yep.
Oh, lovely.
Yep.
Okay. So what I pulled from it was the boundary style. When that boundary style for me is out of balance. It can be in times where I'm under stress or pressured or triggered, and can be seen or felt as like bossy, invasive, or pushy.
Yep, it says when you're out of balance, it's intrusive.
Intrusive, that's another word. Yep.
People see you as forceful, bossy, invasive, insensitive.
Ooh.
An interrupter.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Self-centered and pushy.
Yep. And that can be the case. And I have found myself in those moments where that's true. I own that. I promise you, I own that. I've said it in some of our episodes where when my shit is out of whack, I can feel so overwhelmed by what I'm in that I'm not being a great friend.
Yeah.
You know, I've felt that. I can own that. Yeah. Because I'm trying to learn how to sift through all the bullshit I got going on. Balanced. Oh, I'll touch on that in a second. When balanced, though, those qualities can, instead of being, you can almost look at the opposite, and those qualities can be seen as assertive versus intrusive.
Yep.
Inspiring, kind of like innately a leader, a good listener.
You gently take charge. You know when to step up, speak out, and be seen, but also when to sit down and remain silent and allow others to be seen.
And that's where I'm really trying to shift my, I don't want to say, 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 I don't abilities. And I never attributed it to boundaries before.
Sure.
But being a better listener.
I will say
a better empath.
Watching you in this journey, because again, both of our journeys have brought us to this podcast, and we both very much live our truths. And it's not a secret that Laura and I work on ourselves often and daily. But I will say, as a friend, I've really watched you grow into that.
Oh, well, that's good. Thank you.
Like now reading this, right, and having it in front of me.
Thinking about it.
And talking about it, like, you've really grown into that. And we all have more work to do on ourselves. And I'm not trying to say that, like, well, you're done.
Right.
A for you.
Right.
But you really have. And I'm
thanks,
super
buddy.
impressed and proud of you. And I think that tools like this are so important because, while we both were like, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense at the same time. It's nice to have them. It's something to look at and see and work through.
Because it's a good reference point to know that if I can at times feel like I'm making some progress, but if it's not noticed by other people, then sometimes you question.
Sure.
And so to hear that, I appreciate this. So
everybody likes a little bump, right?
Yeah. I mean, because that's what you're doing it for. You're doing it for the people that you care about. And so if you can, that means that the work that's being put in and that I'm really genuinely trying, that it's working.
So recently, this one is what, and I don't know if it said this in your video that you watched, but this is the one that sticks true to you for me.
Okay.
It says, you are willing to take a risk to push less and allow more.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. That is 100% true. I have over time, with age, with work, with self-awareness. I think self-awareness is a fucking amazing tool as you get older. I have, been deemed in my adult years as some of these words that you hear described, maybe aggressive or, rough around the edges, however you want to say. But I literally have tried to take a more passive approach, and not in a negative way.
No.
When you're naturally an alpha, in certain areas, it doesn't serve you well all the time.
No.
Especially as a woman.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve you as a woman.
That's what we're told our whole lives.
Right.
Sit down, shut up, and be accommodating.
Right. And while that in some areas you're like, fuck you, no, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
There's times where I've had to learn to do that because it served me better.
Sure.
Like, you can't always be this bulldog all the time. There are times where it makes sense and it's appropriate.
You got to find a balance between the bulldog and the passive.
And I've learned to find the balance.
Yeah.
I'm still learning it, but I have really truly focused on the balance, and without losing myself.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Because I think the big picture with this is that you can still be true to who you are and have boundaries. And it's okay. It's okay. Because it's not personal. My boundary with you, 9 times out of 10, is not personal. I'm doing it for me.
Here's the definition of boundaries. I wrote this down today because this is very... Basically, you knowing your preferences, desires, limits, deal breakers, and then being able to communicate those in a healthy, respectful way when you choose and when it's necessary.
Again, it's not personal.
No, and it's not... Then it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not sacrificing who you are, and what's important to you. It's about setting those to you and then being able to communicate them. The piece of it that's very important, that holds strong to me, is being then able to communicate that appropriately and respectfully. So I think in the past, when I've had boundaries, right, I've tried to set boundaries, they weren't done in the right way because I didn't know how to communicate them without coming off like a damn bulldog, or coming for somebody's head or neck. Like if I felt like you disrespected my boundaries, I'm coming for you.
Right.
And so
we're not talking about it. I'm having it out.
Sure. And so that's not doing it the right way. Right. And so it comes full circle. I never, until you really start thinking about it. And there's people who don't believe in like certain, and it's not therapy, but it's really, that self-awareness piece, or being able to really sit down and think about things on a deeper level, and like how you communicate, how you
listen,
how you just interact with yourself and others on a daily basis. If you just stop and just, even if you're thinking, and it could be something as easy as listening to a podcast, or it's just that self-awareness and that willingness to want to improve and change, because you're never too, you don't have it all figured out.
You're not done.
No, I am a daily life. I said this to Tim the other day. We were talking about this. I am a lifelong daily learner, meaning I know that there's always something that I can contribute to myself on a daily basis to make myself better. And when I say make myself better, it's for everybody in my life.
Yeah.
Whether you're my friend, my colleague, my partner, my kid, my parents, like the work is never done, in my opinion. And I want to be the best I can be. That's what I'm here to do. That's my purpose.
Yeah.
I feel. How can I best serve the people that I love the most?
And I can't agree more with that. I think it's so true. And I get there because I have learned that I better myself more when I listen and pay attention to what other people are saying to me, about me, around me, because I'm not perfect and I always have things to work on. And I don't necessarily have to bite back at you when you say something to me, because you're not saying it to me because you're trying to be an asshole. It may not come off that way, but that's not the root of it, right?
No.
You're saying something to me in a manner because you're
hurt.
Or something I did hurt you, or
maybe somebody that cares about you recognizes it, and they're like, hey, I'm saying this to you because I love you and I care about you, and I want to bring this to your attention.
So oh, Lord, almost on your new rug. That'd have been payback for the chairs.
Junie done barfed on that thing and everything else, as long as it's not on the carpet.
So that leads. So you were
I was the powerhouse. What was yours?
I was the peacekeeper.
I mean, you said that to me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not surprised." But then some of the shit that it said, it didn't match up. But yeah, okay.
So the peacekeeper. Every time he hears us talking, he comes. So the peacekeeper, when you're out of balance, it's described as being hypervigilant. So they might describe me as highly sensitive, an empath, fearful, vigilant, conflict averse, overfunctioner, or hyper-receptive. I can see some of that.
Some of them.
You likely suffer from the people-pleasing syndrome, which leaves you little time or space to authentically know or pursue what you really want. Your main goal is to avoid or diffuse conflict. I don't avoid conflict, but I definitely diffuse, both in my, like, with me, but with people around me as well. So I would give them that. I avoid.
I can't wait to drop this nugget on you that I've been holding.
But when it's balanced, it's described as present.
Attentive.
Yeah, you are in the flow of your life. You enjoy being part of the group, yet remain aware and present to your internal experience plus your external environment equally. You enjoy being in the moment and open to life's many opportunities. You become masterful at adapting to an array of situations as you stay firmly aware of your own preferences and desires.
Agreed.
You flow with what is happening with the knowledge that you are not responsible to eliminate conflict from your world, just to manage your own side of the street with integrity.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
The imbalanced stuff.
When you're balanced, you relax and enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. I I agree with that. I think that's a very accurate assessment.
Yeah.
Some of the out of balance stuff, even for mine, I didn't feel like was spot on. But I can see where I
feel
I
a
live
lot
in some of
that.
those qualities.
There are some. I would say I agree with most of that peacekeeper. I would say when I'm out of balance, I retreat and I recluse, and I kind of just turn everything off. I don't know. Maybe that's engrossed in some of those descriptive words that she uses as well. Maybe they're interchangeable, but
some of them were a little off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the imbalance boundary style in terms of peacekeeper is pretty spot on.
Yeah, I would say so too. When I read that one, when I found this PDF breakdown, I was like, oh, the balanced is pretty fucking accurate.
So catch this.
Tell me.
This was one of the most interesting things that I heard on the podcast. When you're talking about boundaries, or when they were speaking about boundaries, they were talking about this this idea of codependency. I have found myself in moments feeling like, and codependency, a lot of people, when they think about that term, you're thinking about like addiction, or can't
do one without the other.
Or even like enabling, or somebody, like maybe a parental and a child or something like that. And it can mean so many different things, but they started diving into this definition of and the therapist herself said she realized and diagnosed herself as a high functioning codependent.
Okay.
What that means is doing it all because you're capable, right? So if a friend, so you're taking on other people's, instead of being able to setting your boundaries in a healthy way, you're taking on other people's stuff because you want to help them fix it.
So one of the questions, I don't know.
I know which one you're talking about.
Was
your friend is in pain.
Well, there was two. Oh, so okay. That one, but the other one was when there's a crisis within your family, what do you do?
Which one? What answer did you pick?
I just start doing.
Okay, so
because while I love my family, outside of my mother, my brothers are, I love you all, but you're all worthless. None of you know how to manage a crisis. None of you know how to figure that out. And so I feel like my mom is the same way, and I got that from her, and we just jump in and take charge and do.
Mm-hmm. Do you know which one I picked?
Are you responsible for your own, and then you just let everybody else figure it out?
Yeah. Because you've
learned your boundary there. I have not, clearly.
Because all my life I'm still the baby, but I've been the baby.
Yeah.
And like for a lot, it's no secret, I'm like the kid who couldn't get it together. And when they became an adult,
yeah,
I was the kid who had that shit together in their adolescence and in their teenage years.
Yeah.
I was the star, right? I was the kid.
I'm a motherfucking star.
I was a motherfucking star. I had the all A's, the grades, the all of the student council, everything, the NHS. My brothers didn't.
Yeah.
I got to college and shit changed very quickly for me. Reality.
Just old Nick Cannon over there wilding out.
It was so structured for me growing up that I got a taste and a sniff of freedom, and I rebelled.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to my parents.
No, I think that happens to a lot of kids.
It does.
Especially
and
the ones that go away to college.
And I'll tell you this, I wasn't mature enough at the time to even handle all that shit.
Sometimes I don't feel mature enough at 36.
Right. And so man, if I redid my bachelor's now at this age, I would kill that shit, and I could have done that whole biomedical sciences degree that I was going for. I probably could have done that and been making a whole lot more money, and wouldn't have been with this communications degree that everybody laughs at. So Kevin Samuels in particular, he always talks about women don't go to college and get a degree in communications, marketing, or this, and this. And I'm like, he's always talking about me. Anyway, so this idea of the codependency, though, right? So back to the codependency. But no, I did answer that question the way exactly as you thought, because I let Matt. He's the old. You handle that, bro. You the oldest. Mom's always looked at you. You take that. Anyways, this high functioning codependency is this wanting to fix it because you kind of can, and you care, and you hurt so much, and you want to be able to, because you want it to, you semi want to be in control, right? So there are times where I have felt that way. I've said to you a couple of times, a number of times, where I feel like there's a codependency in certain areas of my life. And so it's this idea to fix, be there, and take it all on, and then all of that affects you and influences your peace and disrupts your peace.
Do you know who else is a high-functioning codependent person?
Who?
John.
Duh. Absolutely.
There's a reason why I love the both of you as much as I love the both of you.
John and I are a lot alike.
You really are.
There are things about us that are a lot alike. I've witnessed it in John himself.
Yep.
And it's a very admirable trait. At the same time, it's unhealthy in terms. It's exhausting because it's not creating your own healthy boundaries.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
You're a fixer. You want to fix. Yeah. You want to fix for everybody in your life. You want to help. You want to do this. You want to do that.
Which is why, with like some of the shit that I've been going through lately, like it actually was really. I always thought that, like, and I still do, like when John tries to fix things, because I recluse and I shut down and he just takes care of it, right? It gets fixed.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really nice to hear him say, I can't. He's in the bathroom, baby. He'll be out in a minute. Okay? Leave him be.
Takes him a long time to poop. He'll kill me someday.
Every time after he eats. Clockwork. But it was really nice to hear John say, I want to help you. I want to fix this, but I can't.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find someone who can.
Mm-hmm.
Oliver, shut the door. Good Lord. So it just... I think that that's another interesting conversation about boundaries, is recognizing other people's boundaries. I think being with John for as long as I have, we're still growing up, mm-hmm. right? We're still doing those things, but I feel like we both are getting better and better at recognizing each other's boundaries and respecting those and being there for each other when we need to be.
Well, and when you think about boundaries, you know, I prior to today didn't even think about all the different types.
Right.
Close
that door behind you when you go back in the room. Thanks.
There's like 6 types.
Yeah.
Some more obvious than others, right? So there's physical boundaries relating to personal space, comfort with touch, the need for rest to eat. You know, like, man, I gotta eat. I need to sleep. You know, like I'm hungry. Da 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 da. And what that looks like, you know, those are a little bit more straightforward, but like emotional boundaries, honoring and respecting people's feelings, sharing and not sharing amongst those, a healthy emotional boundary that you could set yourself, limit emotional sharing with people who respond poorly. That's setting a healthy emotional boundary.
Yeah.
Would have never thought about that. Like, it's not what they're doing to me.
No.
It's about me setting a boundary, like, what am I let me not overshare with this person because they don't respect.
Just because they are,
right,
doesn't mean I have to.
Right. And when I share with them, they ain't hearing it the same way. So if I know that, I can set that boundary with this individual.
Yeah.
Right. To respect myself. There
are things that that I will talk about with some people that I won't with others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a personal attack on them or our friendship or our relationships. It's just, I can't manage your reactions to my feelings.
And because maybe they can't relate, they're going to react differently than what you may expect.
Right.
So then to stop yourself from eliciting, oh, this is a personal attack, or it makes you feel some type of way.
Or, gosh, if I open up and they say something to me, I'm going to attack them.
Right.
But I don't need to do that to myself because I already know what the fuck they're going to say.
So you set that boundary.
So I just don't say it.
You just don't say it. There's certain things that you can and can't talk with people about. Absolutely. That's an emotional boundary. That's setting a healthy emotional boundary. Wouldn't have even necessarily thought about that. the obvious is, oh, well, they're not respecting how I feel about something. No, it's like, how can you control the situation? That's setting healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
How am I controlling? I'm not good at that. It's not that I'm not good at it. I'm getting better at that.
Yeah, I'm
working on that. That's a piece that I'm improving. Time is a one of the categories for boundaries. Understanding priorities and setting aside time without overcommitting. So an unhealthy, one example of like an unhealthy boundary for that category is asking professionals to do something or for their time without paying them or compensating them.
Yeah.
That is not respecting somebody's time boundaries.
Yeah.
Or showing up late because you overcommitted to something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or anybody just showing up late in general. That's a pretty obvious one. But yeah, showing up late because you overcommitted. I stretched myself too thin.
Right.
All right.
Or you mismanaged your time or whatever it is.
Yeah. Sexual, that's a pretty, I think that one's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Although they were talking about it. I will say this. When they were talking about this Gabrielle woman was talking about it with her previous husband, and she was talking about intimacy with her partner, and she was talking about how, regardless of if she wanted it or not, that was like the expectation. And I just thought to myself, good God, I'm grateful that has never been, I don't think it's ever been the case for me in any of my relationships in general. And like my current partner, I'm like, oh my God, like we just, when it comes to that, we just are so in tune and in lock with that. Like when he's exhausted or I'm exhausted, we like, there's not this, it's like, it's all organic, natural, and beautiful. Like it's never, that is not an issue of pressure or like the old, I have a headache, I don't want to. That's never even been a thought or come out of my mouth. Yeah. And I'm not saying that if that has ever happened for somebody else, it's just I've never even had to think about that. I'm grateful for that because there's enough issues in life.
Sure.
That is not one that you want to have.
I agree.
and it's unfortunate if you do.
Hi, you're not on the podcast today.
2 more types and then we'll blow through these real quick. Intellectual boundaries. So thoughts and ideas and curiosity, respecting others' opinions and thoughts.
Yeah.
And being open to understanding whether you agree or not. And then material. Yeah. Material boundaries. So what am I doing with items and possessions, loaning car, money, et cetera, What does that look like? So all of those things. I never would have thought about some of those things until I read that article. Never would have even thought about it. Yeah. That was very interesting to me.
Yeah. And like you said, some of those are pretty straightforward. But some of those, like they're important. Not some of them. They're all important, but some are more important for other people or for some people than others. Like the emotional one. I feel like that one should be high on everyone's list.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Yep.
And I'm not perfect, but I feel like I learned that emotional boundary at a young age, just with losing Dan. And, I think that that's one of those things that was a byproduct of losing a parent so young. There are some things that you learn from that
absolutely
that it takes people lifetimes to learn.
Absolutely. A lot of people can't say that they've experienced. Thank God, can't say that they've experienced. Yeah. It,
But there are things that happen in people's lives. It doesn't have to be losing a parent that help teach you some of these things.
But I think that's the takeaway for me.
Yeah.
When thinking about this as a whole and thinking about boundaries as a whole, knowing that it's still a work in progress. I'm always a work in progress. While I may not have aced everything in my life and everything in my adult life, what can I take from every experience? What can I take from every situation that I go through, good, bad, indifferent? What?
How can I apply that to my everyday?
And it's that self-awareness piece and that internal work that I am willing to do. And I hope that others are open to that. And it looks different for everybody.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be.
That's what I was just going
to say.
My
journey doesn't look like your journey versus anybody else's journey, but we don't have it all figured out. We don't. Like, nobody does.
But there's tools and resources and therapies and boundary quizzes and books and articles. And I mean, there's so much out there to help you get through that.
And I think the most important piece is just having an open mind. Being open-minded to the idea that there may be something that I don't know. There may be something that can make me just that much of a better employee, this much of a better son or daughter, this much of a better parent, this much of a better partner, this much of a better friend. Because we can say, oh man, I got it all figured out by now. No, you don't.
No,
I don't, because everything changed.
I can promise
morphs.
You.
Yeah, and like we're really blessed. We do have an amazing circle of people, but I've watched everybody in our circle grow. We've had such long-term friendships with everybody. Everybody has grown in their own way, and their journey is completely different. But I continue to see the best versions of my people, and everybody has seasons. When I say best versions, that means going through some real shit and then bouncing back. And what are you taking from that? Yeah. What are you taking from that and applying
And they continue to get better.
And continue to get better and be the best people that they can.
So we'll do one more quick question, and then I got to get my kid to bed. Oh, God, yes. How are you? So we took these quizzes, and I'll link them if you guys. I'll link the quiz if you guys want to take it. It's quick. Yeah. What are you doing with this quiz? Where are you going next now that you know your boundary? Type.
I wasn't, like I said, I can't say that I was overly surprised, but I will say that some of the descriptors were words that I don't want to attribute to myself.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, but also recognizing that I can very much be that person at times. Yeah. And so it's just part of all of the tools in my toolbox. It's another tool of self-awareness to continue to keep in mind. I don't forget these things. I store these things. It's been something that I've been working. It's my go-to when I talk about what therapy has done for me. It's not an instant fix.
No.
It's a work in progress. And what I may be working on at this time a year ago, I may have figured that piece out. Something else may have come up. And I don't go because I'm just I'm just meddling in mess.
Right.
I actually stopped going for a while. I stopped because I felt I was in a pretty good place, and the things that I was struggling with, I had gotten to a good place with, and so on and so forth. And there were other reasons why I stopped as well. I realized that at a certain point in time, I needed to go back because there were some things that I needed some guidance with. And what my therapist does for me is provides me with tools to put in my fucking toolbox to navigate life, to be the best version of myself, and to improve my relationships.
So you're going to take this boundary quiz and use it as a tool, right? In Absolutely. Your toolbox.
Yeah. And it's just a reminder of like, okay, what these tools do for me is I catch myself.
Yeah.
In those moments. I don't ever forget it. It sometimes it's a trigger for me instantaneously, and I could be like, oh, or if I'm getting ready to react to something, I stop and I think. I'm a lot less reactive than I used to be.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm a lot less reactive than I used to.
I agree.
So, what about you?
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of those buzzwords, we'll call them.
Yeah, they were buzzwords, weren't they?
And I'm going to try and figure out how they apply to the different relationships in my life.
Okay.
I'm going to try and break them down, like how it is with John and how it is at work and how it is with my friends. Each individual friend, because they're all very different. Mm-hmm. How it is with my kid, which is a big one because, God, I love him, but man, we'll touch on it in another episode.
But like, one of your most challenging.
Yeah, ADHD is no joke.
Well, and it challenges you as a mother.
Yeah. So I think that's what's going to be most useful for me is like, how does that apply here, and how does that apply there, and what can I do? how many shifts do I need to make? How many boundaries do I need to set up with these individual groups?
And, boundaries in those type of relationships, especially with your kids. And that's one thing I can't say we talked about a lot, but boundaries with your kids are extremely important. If they're not the most important boundaries you set.
They are.
They really are.
I feel like that deserves a whole episode.
It probably does. We can circle back on that.
Welcome. Thank you for coming to our Boundaries 101. Check back. Maybe we'll have a 102.
For real, because I've never truly taken a dive into it like I did today. Just even into
just having a conversation like
no,
this.
or
yeah,
even applying it to myself. I knew I struggle in certain areas, but I've never thought about it as a whole. So it's very insightful for me. So I was glad we did it.
Me too.
Yeah,
I really think we can have a 102.
For sure. Because we need some boundaries in this chaos, boy. Because chaos is inevitable.
But that's why there's 2 kinds of wine today, you guys.
Yeah, enjoy.
Thanks for listening. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. And you're gearing up for your wine advent calendars.
And we have Friendsgiving this weekend.
We
so
do.
We're going to be having all the fun.
Maybe we can get a fun episode recorded then.
We should try.
I hope you guys get to hear that one on Thursday. I'm going to get Oliver in bed.
Cheers.
Bye, y'all. Cheers.